back, everybody, to the Get Fit ASAP podcast. I'm Anthony. I'm your host. Today we got to my left, Josh Gibson. To my right,
Tyler.
I'm just kidding.
Guest host.
Yes. Today we're talking about the Stronger, Faster,
Stronger project.
I don't know. It's Get Fit podcast, right?
Get Fit
the
podcast.
Faster, Stronger project. Yes. So if you guys don't know, that's basically our running club here at ASAP, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll kind of we get into it right now. But what kind of running things do you do, Josh?
So it originally started off as just a run club. So we were trying to find CrossFitters that wanted to either do Spartan races, half marathons, 5Ks, local races. So started off with just meeting up. We basically were using basic run templates I used my whole running career to do my mileage off of. Just recently, we're starting to transition that more to like daily programming.
Yeah.
So it looks a little bit different. We could dive into that a little bit later. So now instead of thinking of it like more of a run club, now it's an actual full-blown like run program. So
let's start by like how long you've been into running and like marathons and.
Yeah, so I got into running. What year is this? I actually started CrossFit because of obstacle course racing. So that was back in 2013. So probably 2 years prior to that. So 2011, 2012 is when I really got into it. Did the first couple for fun and really enjoyed them, but they like kicked my ass. So it was one of those things like challenge accepted. I'm going to go find out how to get better at these things and actually be competitive. So right in my backyard, we had the USMC Mud Run, which back then was ranked number 2 in the country for like as far as being good. So we did that. It's a 6.5 mile run with 36 obstacles, and it's a permanent course, unlike Spartan and other places they tear them down and move them. This actually stays there year round. It's actually what the Marines there at the base used to train on. So they have to go in their platoons and they have a time. They have to get everybody through it. So it's pretty cool. So twice a year they did a fundraiser there and they let you do it, and then you could either go competitive or open just like Spartan. So eventually I went from the regular to competitive, and it was teams of 4. So we used to do male, female teams. So it's pretty fun. Really enjoyed it, and then Spartan kind of got its big boom shortly after that.
Yeah.
And they had the first one a couple hours away from us up in North Carolina, so got into that, and then started realizing, hey man, this is a lot of running. I should probably get better at running. You know what I mean? Because I was so worried about the obstacles, just like everybody else. Everybody that comes to me that wants advice to get started, they always ask like, hey man, like how do I climb a rope? How do I do this? They're always concerned with that. And when you really look at the big picture, you spend about this much time on obstacles. Yeah. You guys did the Spartan last year.
Yeah.
So this much time doing obstacles and this much time running.
Especially doing the beast too.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, dude, once you get up to that level, you're running a half marathon.
Yeah.
There's just some stuff sprinkled in there. You don't even worry about that. So anyways, so that long ago, and it's just been a progression, just like everything else we do in sports and fitness. You know what I mean? You just progress every year. You try to get better. You learn new things. You talk to new people. I've always been an advocate of reaching out to people better than me at things.
Yeah.
So hopefully you can find some mentors, and they kind of cut out some of the garbage that you're going to fill it with, right? So I tried to reach out to people that were already really good at it. Like, hey, what do? You know, you've won this thing before, or you came in second. Like, what's your training look like? And of course, first thing that popped up was trail running.
Yeah.
So I was like, cool, I'm just going to go head first into this. So then I dove into trail running, got competitive at that. Competitive at my level, I should say. Not like any kind of like sponsored athlete or anything, but just, competitive for me.
Yeah.
I was trying to do the best I could in my age group or whatever, improve year to year. So it kind of went from there. Then I really got into running, sought out like a run coach, learned as much information as I could about how to program for running, what energy systems we're using, all that different kind of stuff. So it's just been an evolution over the past 6-7 years.
How many
really
races
trying to get
have you
into
done?
it. I have no idea.
You know, like
Ever been to his garage, bro?
marathons,
Yeah.
half
100
marathons.
medals.
No.
You know, it's like so many.
It's a lot, yeah.
Okay,
It's a lot. Like as far as the really big distance, like my farthest distance I ever ran was a 50K. That was very recently.
Yeah,
that was on
trail.
trail. So I've done a 50K and 30K in the past year and a half. I've obviously, marathon has just been sprinkled in there because I've never run an actual marathon. I've run over the marathon distance, and I've run near it, like 20 milers, 22 milers. But I've never actually signed up for a legitimate 26.2, which we're doing CIM this year. So, and then as far as just obstacle course racing, anywhere from 5 to 15 per year every year competitively, and then just the fun ones with the run groups sprinkled in there. So I only count the competitive ones. The ones I do are just my team or like for fun. I just kind of just show up, drink beer, whatever. So keep it pretty fun. So I've done a lot of races, learned a lot of valuable lessons, and just I enjoy it, man. It's something fun. I've always been a big advocate also of like, you don't need to spend your whole life in the gym. Like the gym should enhance whatever we do, and that's just a cool way to go test your fitness outside of here and play. It's just fun, man. You meet new people, and it's pretty exciting. So
I think that's a good thing about kind of the program we have is that you get outside and you get to go enjoy the outdoors and then, get some fresh air. You don't have to be stuck at the gym the whole time like you're saying.
Exactly, yeah. And it just proves that you're getting fitter, right? So if I can go run, I run the same half marathon every year. As long as I get a little bit fitter and go a little faster, awesome. I run the same Spartan Beast every year. As long as my time goes down, I know I'm getting a little fitter, a little faster. Just like in CrossFit, we have benchmarks. Yeah. I have kind of races that I'll do every year. And I try to not repeat races too often, though. Does that make sense? So I'll pick 1 or 2 that I'll repeat, but the rest of them I try to go to new areas. So one of the ways me and my wife like to travel is to just pick random races. Like we did Yosemite half marathon one year from vacation races and just random things like that. The Santa Cruz Wharf to Wharf is a very popular 10K. 10K is not a very far race, but like the experience going there was insane. I've never been a part of a race that big with that many people. I was a little bit overwhelmed because the first 2 miles, you're like, we're trying to PR. And it was so many people. You're just kind of like caught in the streets, like dodging people. Yeah. And I kind of got frustrated, to be honest with you, because I kept looking at my pace and I was like, there's no way. Yeah. So once we cleared the crowd at about the almost 2 mile mark, I literally was just like, we got to go for glory. Like, I'm here. We came all the way down here. So we ended up getting she barely got PRs, like maybe a minute and a half or something like that, which is still good for a 10K. Hey. Yeah. But stupid stuff like that, man. And it's just fun to keep challenging yourself, dude. And like, you just... Running, you really do have to stay in your own lane. It's so cool to train with a group of people to push you and motivate you and hold you accountable. But running is such an individual sport, right? Like, I can't depend on you, even though you're my training partner, I can't depend on you to make me run faster when it actually comes down time to do it. So at the end of the day, it's like, what are you really made of? Like when it starts to hurt, what are you going to do? There's no one to help you at that point once you're in the middle of a race. So really enjoy all that. So it's super cool.
Yeah, you're by yourself and you start, especially for the it's so long.
Yeah.
It's not like it's just a 20-minute WOD, 10-minute WOD, or I mean, I guess some races are, but the majority
that's what
of the races,
got me into the evolution of trying to do the 50K. Like doing my first ultra this year, it was literally all about what am I made of? Yeah, it had nothing to do with my body or physicality whatsoever. It was I knew it was going to be a mental challenge. One, could I stick to the program the whole way through? Could I see that many weeks of training? It's like 20-something weeks of training for that. Can I stick with it and not miss a week? I did it. Accomplished the goal. And the funny thing was, like I was telling you guys a week ago, or when I got back from it, there was no real big hoorah at the end. It was cool. I had a lot of friends come out and support me, which was amazing. My son was there to see it, and that part was really cool. But there was no real sense of accomplishment. It was more or less looking back on the training and knowing that I did it. Like, I stuck to it the whole time. Here's an ultra marathon that I just did. And if you were to ask me 6 years before that, would I ever do an ultra? I would have been like, hell no. Like, no way, not going to happen. I hated running 5 miles at that point in time. You know what I mean? It was a struggle bus. And now that I've done it, I'm like, okay, well, if I accomplish that just by being consistent over time, what can I do in another 5-6 years?
Yeah. Do you have anything specific you would say to someone that doesn't like running and like when they see marathon, half marathon, just think that's crazy?
Give it a never knock anything till you give it a valid run, right? Till you get a valid try. So what I would say is most training blocks, something for like a half marathon, I could literally take someone from couch to marathon in 10 to 12 weeks, maybe 16 depending on how deconditioned they are, right? Just see it through, man. Like challenge yourself. Like I said, most of it's mental anyways, right?
At what point did you start to enjoy it? Because at first, obviously, you probably didn't.
Honestly, no. Well, honestly, when it really clicked, everybody kept telling me this, and I didn't believe them. I didn't like running anything over 5 miles, and I hated getting to the 5 mile mark. That's where I felt like everything sucked, right? Like my legs were burning, lungs were on fire. Once I cleared the 5 mile mark and started going for like 10 mile runs, it got enjoyable. You push through the pain. Nothing worse happens after that point. You kind of get this sense of numbness comes over you at the 6-7 mile mark, and then you just kind of go. You find your rhythm, and then they call it like the runner's high. I was like, that's total garbage. It actually is a real thing. You find the state of like euphoria where you're just like, I'm in it. I've made it this far, and then you just keep thinking like, okay, I've already went this far. How much farther can I push it? So it's pretty cool. And then after that distance, now we start talking like nutrition and how good your body is, endocrine system, all that weird sciencey stuff. But definitely anything over, I would say 8 miles gets me pretty excited now. I start to really enjoy it. So.
Yeah, I've just from experience, like I had not liked running for the longest time. Yeah. And like the most I ran was probably a 5K not by choice, by like a competition that we did, and it sucked, and I didn't like it at all. But the one thing that kind of helped me kind of transition to enjoy running more is like not having such a high expectation, like I have to do 5 miles today, or I have to do 10 miles, or a certain distance at that point. I just kind of like got started, just went slow pace, something I can maintain, and just went until I got tired and until I was done. Yeah. And I realized that like you do get that point where like the first 2 miles it kind of sucks, and then after that you kind of start to get over that feeling of feeling sorry for yourself and feeling like it sucks, and you start to enjoy it because you're like, dang, I made it this far already. Let me see how a little bit further I could go.
Yeah.
And like not having that expectations I have to do like 5K in under 17 minutes or something like that kind of helped me get through
for sure
training and running a little bit more, and now you do it more often and you get better and better, and like you enjoy it a little bit more.
And imagine like just like anything else, imagine if you pick like a 10K or a half marathon you want to run, and you actually stuck to like a program and you built it up properly. Your body, your body would be prepared. You already do CrossFit, you're a competitive level athlete, so you have that part done. So you just get the time on your feet basically, in the mental grind of like, okay, I'm gonna run this far today. Once you're over that, it's like, dude, you'd be surprised. You know what I mean? And then you just keep amazing yourself, and you're like, well, if I did this, I could do that. And you just keep layering it on, and it's one of those like slippery slopes. I'm not saying that everybody's gonna go out and like run their first 5K or 10K and love it. It's definitely, you have to be intrinsically motivated, and you have to want to be searching for something more. I feel like just to run. There are people like that. One of our teammates that runs with us, her mom has actually never done, I don't think, a sanctioned race from what she said, but her mom's been running every day for like 30 years.
Oh wow.
And she's in amazing shape, and I'm like, this is crazy. Like,
it's probably just like your hour,
it's just her thing, man. And I think it's just the fact that it's her space, you know what I mean? That's her time. But I think we have CrossFit for that, right? Like we go to the gym, we kind of turn work off for a minute, even though we work here. It's still like, for real, that hour is like, I'm gonna get it, you know what I mean? Like, it's our time away. So it can mean so many things for so many people. You know what I mean? You just got to find your why, just like we do for anything else. So
do you have a specific goal for this program that you're starting? Like, what you're trying to accomplish?
So these cycles, so we used to do the templates, right? So I had 5K, 10K, half marathon, and a marathon template. So I basically wrote them up based off of training I've done over the past 7 years, and I came up with what I thought was the best that I got out from it, right? So as it progressed over the years, I changed a lot of things, made things a little bit different. Well, when you hand someone a template, it's kind of like, are they going to stick to it, or are they not going to stick to it? So we developed the Run Club for accountability, but then some people still fall off. So the goal for the new program and the way it's going to work now, it's actually an annual cycle. One thing I found, and one of my biggest beefs with CrossFit, being a CrossFit coach, most people aren't good at running in CrossFit. So when you program 1 mile like Murph or 800s or whatever, their times actually aren't very good. And some of these people might be really, really fit individuals though. And I'm like, okay, you have a double body weight back squat, but you have an 8.5 minute mile. You're not a true well-rounded athlete, but they look at themselves like, oh, I'm a competitive level. And I'm like, well, are you, if you have that big of a missing hole in your game? And it's kind of like how Henshaw got brought into CrossFit, and all these elite level athletes started focusing more on running. And I thought it was pretty cool. And I got excited. I'm like, oh man, this is my niche, and it's coming into our sport now.
Especially when you saw a lot more running in the games, and then people weren't doing any training for it.
Exactly. And right when I first met you guys, one of the first things I think I talked to you about was like, oh, how was the run swim, event you guys had to do? And you're like, oh, whatever. It's all right. But that's why so many professional athletes now are doing swimming every week. They're doing running at least twice a week. So I think it's pretty cool. And it's an overlooked, it's a skill. It's not something you just go out and do. You actually need to have proper running form and mechanics, or you will break down over time.
I don't think people realize that either.
No, I think that's that too, or it's like they don't
just go and like not even think about anything. And like if you do anything like squat or any lifting in the gym like that, you're gonna hurt yourself.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You're not gonna enjoy it.
Yeah,
like,
you can't just go.
With, like,
if you're gonna learn how to do double unders, you have to learn the skill. If you learn how to snatch, you have to learn the skill. Running is also a skill. Swimming is a skill. So you have to put a little bit of time into it.
Yeah.
So the way our program works is we focus a lot on running mechanics in the warm up. So we basically have like a general warm-up, then we actually go through and hit. Every week I change the mechanics. So we focus on different postures, different positions, different drills, because not everybody's gonna click, right? Not everybody follows the same cues. We did a foot drag drill last week that only half the class got. And I was like, don't feel frustrated if you don't get it. I don't expect everybody to get it, but this is gonna work. Yeah, this is gonna work for a few of you, and then next week we'll change it up and we'll try something different for the rest of you. And not everybody's going to have the same range of motion, mobility, that kind of stuff. So it's just like teaching any other movement. You just have to understand the movement and then find as many ways as possible to relay the information to the athlete. So it's pretty cool. But the program, the way it's going to work, there's going to be 3 workouts per week year round. And so it's going to be in Wodify along with our programming. So if you're a member, you just pop on Wodify. It's logged in. The new app, you look at schedule. So if they go down to 7 p.m., you'll see Faster Stronger Project every day. It's only programmed on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays because it's only 3 workouts per week, but you can log the scores on those days. You don't have to do it on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. You can do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday if you wanted to. It doesn't matter. All I ask is that people try to do it on non-consecutive days. So give yourself a day in between. The runs are pretty intense. We're trying to cut down the volume. So whereas the templates were based more off a runner's program, this is specifically for people to do CrossFit. Specifically. I'm no longer catering to the masses outside the gym. I'm literally like, I believe that doing CrossFit 3 to 5 days a week and doing this run program is going to get you in way better shape and get you to PR race versus the old methodology. So I just think less is more, focusing more intently on your paces and building your endurance and all that kind of stuff and being very specific about it is just going to reap more benefits. So just like we focus on intensity in CrossFit, same thing in our run program. So.
On these days now, do you recommend them running and doing CrossFit on the same day?
So I'm glad you asked that question. So here's my golden rule. I would never recommend doing your run program and CrossFit consecutively, like back to back. There needs to be at least a 3-hour window in between the two. And preferably, if you're going to be a 2-a-day athlete, I would like to see one session AM, one session PM with the longest break possible in between the two. You can easily recover from the run workouts, but at some point, one of those is going to affect the other. So let's say, for example, you're training for an upcoming race, and that is the priority, okay? I would put whatever you do first in the day gets highest priority out of your body, right? So if you're training for an event, I'm going to run in the morning. I'm going to do my CrossFit later. And I'm going to, at the end of the week, I'm going to basically do an assessment of basically myself. How do I feel? Do I feel recovered? Is my central nervous system okay? And was my performance in the gym okay? If all those are a yes, I'm going to keep doing the 3 days a week. I'm going to keep doing those double days. If at any point in time or when it gets really close to the race, I'm going to remove a couple of CrossFits. So on Tuesday, Thursday, I might not do CrossFit. Like this week, I'm racing a half marathon. I didn't do CrossFit on Tuesday. I did my run program, and I'm not going to do CrossFit today. I'm going to do the run program. And that's just the last week. So I literally just taper the week of the race just to make sure I feel really fresh. Still deadlifted crazy heavy yesterday. Still did heavy doubles. And a lot of people are like, well, that's crazy. I would never lift heavy. I'm like, you just have to know your body. Like, I like my hamstrings to feel a little tight when I run because it makes me focus on the pulling motion if they're a little tender. Does that make sense? So just for me, it's a cue in my head to remember to pull. So I like deadlifting the week of. Most people probably wouldn't like it because it's going to be a little sore.
Whenever if you're used to doing it, then it's not too big of a deal, right? But if you haven't deadlifted in a long time and you go and deadlift right before, it's probably not a good idea. But
and the other cool part, too, is the way the program's written. So you have 3 workouts per week. If you do not have a current race chosen, right? Like you have no idea when you're going to run a race. I would highly recommend just doing 2 of the days. You know what I mean? Pick your biggest weakness. Is it your long motor? Is it when you're doing a really long running WOD with a boatload of stuff in it? Is that your biggest weakness when it comes to running? Then you should probably do the endurance day, the longer run on the weekend to build that time on your feet. If you're just not fast, you always get beat when everybody's running 200s, 400s, you should really focus on the speed day and the lactic threshold day. That way you're going to get a little bit faster and more comfortable at those kind of intermediate distances. So it's really cool. So like as coaches, we can do it.
Workouts for those energy systems?
Easily. So it's the same thing same thing you would program in CrossFit, right? So your lactic threshold, just think about longer intervals with a shorter rest break. So let's say we're going to go out and run today. We're going to do 5 rounds. We're going to do 4 minutes on. And then we're going to rest for 1 to 2 minutes. And then we'll just do that 5 times. So pretty simple. I'm getting used to running in this window. To you guys, when you see 4 minutes, that's automatic like 800, right? You just think 800 or less or more. So 800 to 800 to 1,000 meters, right, is what you're going to think in your head. So it's cool because these workouts are written specifically for CrossFitters. It's literally like they can read this easily. 5 rounds for time. 4-minute run, 1 minute rest. Distance is your score. So you're going to try to hit that. And as a coach, you're going to tell them like, hey, I want you to keep these as consistent as possible. So if you make it 1,000 meters, I want you to hit that 1,000 meter mark every time. Obviously, over the course of the 5 rounds, lactate's going to build up. What are we trying to test? Lactic threshold. We want to build up that lactic acid, and we want to see how fast they can recover it on a short rest. Then the next one, your VO2 max. Obviously, this is going to be for speed, so we need to keep the intervals a lot shorter. We need longer rest breaks because now we want the body to be able to flush out that system, and we want to see how many times we can turn the wheels really fast. Tonight's run program, for example, is going to be 8x200s. It is a race week, so I am going to dial back the intensity for people racing this weekend, but we have a couple athletes that aren't signed up for this race, so they're pretty much going hard on it. They're going hard. We did 10x300 last week, and it was rough. We're going to rest 2 minutes on these. So this is only going to take 200 meters. I mean, that's 45 seconds. Yeah, we're gonna, if that, not even. 35, 37 seconds. We'll run these, and then you'll get a full 2-to-1 if not more, 2.5 rest to work ratio. So you'll get to recover. You should feel good. Now the kicker is it's 8. So same thing. I'm just trying. The first 4 should feel okay. I can put it down. The last 4 we should start getting really burned. And if I have anything left in the tank on round 8, I'm going to try to basically PR that 200 and see what I got left.
On these, do you give them like a kind of like a pacing structure, or you're just kind of like?
Yeah. So sometimes depending on the athlete. So think about it like beginner, intermediate, and advanced.
Yeah.
My advanced runners that have time goals, they're trying to PR every race. I'm going to give them very specific. They're going to know they have a 3-second window that they have to hit this in. For myself tonight, if I miss my 3-second window, I will continue to add sets until I get it. Does that make sense? It's almost like a penalty. Yeah. So you really have to just don't miss. Yeah. So 1, it keeps me from coming out too hot. So I know I'm not going to try to go for a record-breaking 200 on the first one because I got to do 7 more.
Exactly.
And then 2, it's going to hold me accountable when I do get tired. I've got to hit it. So I've got my watch set. It's ready to go. It doesn't lie. The clock never lies. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think too, like, especially when you get in like a real race, it's a lot to do with pacing. So this will help you just to stay disciplined on it, or even though like you get out there and you're freaking jamming, it's like it's like
so the cool part is
sets the end,
this workout, the lactate threshold. So let's say as we get close to a race, 3 to 2 weeks out, you'll actually turn this into a less intense workout. Like I had 3 by 1 mile repeats this week. They were at race pace. They weren't at my mile fastest, which is usually like a sub 7. I only had to run 740s. So I just kind of met it in the middle. I did 3 730s, kept them within a couple seconds of each other, and that was it. All I was doing was getting used to running at that pace repeatedly. So just kind of dialing in your it just depends on where you are in your training cycle. So that's the cool thing. And there's going to be a boatload of notes. We're running this locally for our gyms, so everything I program is going to be programmed specifically for whatever big races are coming up. So as my athletes come in, like, hey, I want to do the Shamrock Run or CIM or whatever, it'll be structured to peak people specifically for that race. So it's not like some online program where you're like, oh, I hope this lines up with what I want to do. This is going to be very, very specific to us locally. So it'll be pretty cool.
Do you have specific times that you guys are going to meet up as a club?
So we do the track night is the hardest one. So your sprint night is probably the hardest one to do on your own, just because it's so hard. So we always meet up here at 5:45 every Thursday. On the weekends, we have a private Facebook group that we go in. Everybody just posts throughout the week. We have conversations going. And basically people just put up like, hey, I want to do my long run on Sunday after church. That's when we went last week. So we just post in there at the beginning of the week. X amount of people want to go at that same time. We all meet up. Whereas another group was posting in there, hey, we want to go on Saturday, midday. So that group met up. So it's pretty cool. So you can get in all your runs with other people. We just have the one scheduled class at 5:45 on Thursdays. And that's just because people's schedules are crazy, man. It's so hard to coordinate 3 days on top of, CrossFit's awesome because we have classes all throughout the day. So people come at all different times. But the run club, we can't, I can't just stop coaching CrossFit and just run the run club 24 hours a day. And it's not that many people. I mean, your run clubs are never going to outweigh your total membership. So it works out.
What about
So the endurance, that one's obviously what it is. Time on your feet, right? So that's going to be your one long run per week. The biggest problem I had with the old school methodology of running was they put in a lot of what they call junk miles or easy runs. I just don't believe in it, man.
It's like wasting time kind of? Or like...
I've done both. So I tested it just to see, and I absolutely got zero benefit from adding in more volume. As CrossFitters, we're already squatting, deadlifting, all this lunging, all this other stuff. We've already bulletproofed our body, and that's kind of what the easy runs are supposed to be, is just like, oh, it's supposed to be like recovery or getting you ready. You know what I mean? Like, that's the whole thought process behind it is, don't worry about intensity, just get more time on your feet. Well, as CrossFitters, we do way enough stuff to get core and all our joints and ligaments strong. So basically, by removing those extra miles, you're basically reducing the chances of getting injured. And sure enough, man, over the years, you just paid attention, make notes, and none of us, it's very minimal that we ever get any injuries. And when I have other people that come in, they run 5-6 days a week and they have junk miles, it's always something. Knees, ankles, everything, overuse injuries. I'm like, you could have spent that time doing something more to build yourself up. Nobody's ever going to look back and be like, man, I really wish I wouldn't have got my back squat better. I wish my quads weren't this strong. I wish my glutes weren't this strong. I mean, what are we running with? You know what I mean? It's like, come on.
That's why you get a lot of runners actually come into CrossFit is to get those that strength work.
And it's finally catching on, man. It's finally getting to the point where the public is starting to read the research on it, and there's so much good information out there that universities have done studies on, and they're actually showing like, let's dial that volume back. Let's focus more on intensity, and let's get you off the track or off the street and into the gym, going through full range of motion. Running is such a partial range of motion that people develop all these imbalances, man. If you have one little thing off and you're taking 10,000 steps, that one little thing becomes a big problem.
So I always say that we're squatters or runners.
Yeah.
Like hips are super tight.
And that's what I love is like back squat and deadlift are two of my favorite lifts, but I'm a runner. You know, I'm a smaller framed athlete that's known for running, but I feel like I still have a decent deadlift and a back squat. So it's like, okay, well, and I feel strong when I run long distance. I feel strong when I run trail, and it's because of CrossFit for sure, because I ran before it. Definitely couldn't do the stuff that I could do now. So, I mean, the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
And just try it for yourself. At the end of the day, it's like, you know, I'm not going to sit here and try to sell anybody on anything. I'm just like, it's what I found that works for me and my crew.
What about the people that do enjoy running, like, on their own? Like you said, that lady does an hour a day. They're kind of on the fence of doing this program. What would kind of, like, recommend them to either stay what they're doing and enjoy that, or like actually get onto this program?
Two things. One, look at the research. If you're that type of person that's very adamant about like needing proof, don't listen to me. Look at the research and just look at like the Run Experience based out of San Francisco. They're a big running company down there, and they have a lot of podcasts and YouTube videos. They talk a lot about getting your butt in the gym, and you need to be squatting, benching, deadlifting, like the power lifts. The explosive Olympic lifts are actually really good for runners. They're going to make you a faster runner. They're going to develop more hip power. We pull with the hip, and a lot of people develop like psoas and like hip issues when they run. If you make those stronger, they're less likely to be injured. So just think, if you want longevity in your sport of running just for enjoyment, it's going to do nothing but benefit you. You're going to be faster, you're going to be more efficient, and you're going to last longer and be able to run pretty much all the way until, you know, God willing. So it's pretty cool.
What about, I have one last question I got to head out, but if someone doesn't run at all, do you think that they could just jump into this program and be fine, or should they kind of ease into it?
Yeah, really good question. So the way I've got it structured is you do not need to have any prerequisite anything. So like I said earlier, think about this like a beginner, intermediate, and advanced program. The coach, myself, I'm going to be able to take that athlete and literally walk them through the whole thing. So as long as they're coming to a track night, meeting with me, or at least reaching out, you know, via email or phone call, I can literally tell them exactly what paces they need to hit, things like that, to slowly ease into it. And it's like with anything else. You don't just dive in the deep end and go run 10 miles on the weekend. You know, you need to structure it. But this program will be
sticking to the program.
It will be a low enough volume that's going to build them up over time. I would definitely have anybody that's never run before definitely reach out to me for sure and be like, hey, you know, is this a good week to start? But we want this thing to be continuous all the time. So anybody can jump in at any point in time. You don't need to go back and start at week one.
Well, I'll leave you guys.
All right.
No problem.
I think it's good because, like you said, it's for the CrossFit program to work with it, rather than if someone just got a program off the online or whatever, and they're running, I don't know, let's say it's for a half marathon or whatever, and they're running 12 miles a day, blah, 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 blah. It's like, dude, you're not used to doing that. You're probably going to get some overuse injuries or whatever, right? But the volume that you have, it shouldn't be a problem adding it in.
No, so the only concern is going to be the long on the weekend, right? So yes, we do have to peak. So we do have to build some kind of volume for that long run. The intervals are going to be fine. New people can come into that and definitely get it done, because the intensity is what's going to base how hard they're working, right? So I can basically be like, we're going to do 8x200s. New person, I'd be like, hey, let's do 6 today. And I'll actually, as we grow the run program, it'll actually be programmed to modify. It'll say beginner, intermediate, advanced. We just have all racers right now, so we're just going with it. They're doing the same thing I'm doing, so full-blown program. But as we get more people in it, I'll definitely start adding all that stuff in. And it's really easy. You just cut the volume.
So this is advanced.
It's 7.
Would it literally be more volume or less rest maybe, or
just more
something
volume
like that?
And yes. So on this day, the rest would stay the same. The lactate threshold day, they would get more rest.
More rest,
just because they're not used to running that much. 4 minutes could be a lot for a new person.
For sure.
So they would actually get less volume, so they might only do 3 sets, and they would actually get a 1-to-1 work to rest ratio. So it's easily scalable, just like CrossFit, and I wanted it to match. I love CrossFit and I like the way it works, so I want it to be infinitely interchangeable. I want the lingo to be the same. Like we do EMOMs, we do every 3 minutes on the minute. We have AMRAP, stuff like that. So I want the lingo to be interchangeable. That way people aren't lost. They're like, oh, I just learned CrossFit, learned all you guys lingo. Now I got to learn how to runner's lingo. So we don't even have like tempo runs anymore. A lot of people hear about tempo runs. Those are gone. So tempo runs are out. Those were the crushing people anyways.
I feel like this would be more enjoyable for most people though. You know what I'm saying?
If I sent you one of these workouts and said, hey, I did this CrossFit WOD today, and I sent it to you and I was like, tell me how many calories you got on an air runner. Like you would do it.
Exactly.
And then I would be like, you just did my run program. You know what I mean? So you wouldn't even know. So as a CrossFitter that wants to get better at running, they're going to look at it. This is more of a competitive-ish program because you can score it, right? We could score it and see all the tracking instead of just running and be like, I ran 5 miles a day. and that's it. You know what I mean? Like there's no real.
Well, I
thing
feel like
to
a lot of people that run, or a lot of people that enjoy running, that at least go to the gym right now. They just kind of, hey, I'm just gonna go run. We're just gonna go on a run. They don't really have like a goal in mind, but just kind of, they just know they want to do it, and they know they want to do
Everyone
races every now and then.
But especially Lodi is a good example. I met a couple people out there when I first came on board with you guys. And they're like, yeah, man, like I like running. I do like 8 to 10 miles on Sunday. I do 3 to 5 miles on this day. And I'm like, cool. Like, what's the structure of that, or what's your purpose? No,
I don't know. Just go and hit it.
Running, and that's awesome. Like that's cool. They take the time to go out and run. I just want to be able to provide more value.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, if I can put runs in that are actually going to make them better, they're already running anyways.
Exactly. They're already.
Yeah. It's just going to be a little more
restructuring a little bit.
Yeah. Now they can actually see results over a block. So a lot of these workouts are repetitive, just like in CrossFit, how we do a benchmark workout. A lot of these become, you'll literally see it say,
all right,
you're going to do 10 by 300, and it's going to have a big asterisk that says, I want you to beat your times from 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So it's really cool, and then you get to go back, and we log everything in Wodify, program it all in there. So you record your scores. When you do that workout again, compare the scores. Did I get fitter? Did I get faster?
Exactly.
So instead of just going out and running, it's like everything has a purpose now. So there's a time and a place for it and a reason for everything.
And it'll be interesting too to see like if their strength or different stuff is going up, or maybe their Helen's going up now because their running is getting better, right, or whatever. But other benchmarks that just go with your general fitness rather than just specifically running wise.
And that's a good segue into
does a 2K row go faster?
This is a competitive run program. This is for if you're like a competitive CrossFitter and you're not following some type of aerobic engine, kind of layered on thing. It's like, are you really well-rounded? You know what I mean? Like, if that's the one thing when you get to that competition that's going to kill you, it's like, why weren't you working on it all year round? So this kind of takes care of those competitive level athletes too. This isn't just for runners. This is for legitimate CrossFitters that want to be good at like local comps. Running's coming up. It's been the games, regionals. Like, you're going to do it at local comps now because it's like the trendy thing to do, which is awesome. The comp we're getting ready to do has a 1.4 mile loop with your partner. And it's like, okay, there's nothing else. I don't care what your back squat is. If you don't have a fast mile time, like you're not going to win that event.
Very well on that. Yeah,
exactly. So I'm just curious at how many people are going to come out there like prepared for that 1.4.
But then how many people know how to pace that? How many people know? You know what I'm saying? They don't. They're not.
And if they were following this program, they would know exactly. Like they should know within seconds
of what their actual
exactly what they're going to get. Yeah, and like I'll have mine dialed in, well before it, and I'll pretty much talk to my partner. And just be like, hey man, how confident are you in this, and what's your pace? And we'll just figure out whoever's slower, that's who you got to match it to.
Exactly. And especially in a competition setting where, you say you blow your wad in that first run. I mean, you might not be able to recover for that next event if you don't.
And then there's like a boatload of deadlifts later that day. And the run is the floater too. That's the crazy part. So how do you strategize that?
Oh.
Yeah, think about that. I'm not giving out any answers to how I'm going to do it, but
you have to figure it out on your own, baby.
Yeah, exactly. I'm prepared. So that covers pretty much all of it. This will be an annual cycle, like I said earlier, so this is going year round. I will modify that as needed to make sure it matches up to the exact big races that we're going to do. So
because the summer's coming too right now. There's going to be tons of races going on, even charity ones, or and we get a lot of people doing that from the gyms too. But even for those, if they don't really care about doing well, it's more for the cause, right? But now you have a goal also, not just raising money, helping people out, but I'm going to try to get better at my
Well, at least you'll be prepared for it, too. Because a lot of times when, we're CrossFitters, we're in the gym, but then it's like, 5K comes up. It's like, I haven't run 5K in 3 years. And then you're like, man, and most people usually come back with like, my ankles are really sore, my feet hurt, I have plantar fasciitis. And it's like, if you would have been kind of sticking with it. And like I said, you don't have to do 3 days a week.
Yeah.
It's not necessary. If you're not training for a race, it is not necessary if you're doing CrossFit.
Yeah.
Just to add the 2 days a week is totally fine.
Yeah. But it's like the same thing if you wanted to get stronger, you add in a couple accessory things. It's the same thing as just different goals.
This one I feel like has a little more carryover because it's building your aerobic system. Yeah. So this is going to carry over to your bike, your wads, your rowing. Like it's just going to give you a bigger motor in general.
Anything over 10 minutes or even less than that,
big
honestly.
Time.
But
So that was the biggest takeaway I got from doing running competitively and doing it all the time was being able to come into a CrossFit workout and I don't have a quit button. Like I can attack any huge, like the crazy workouts you guys do.
Yeah.
I always feel confident going into those because even though some of the weights are a little heavy for me, I know that I've done harder, longer, like grinders out in the woods. So I'm like, dude, just pick up the bar, keep moving, and I know where my heart rate can kind of, I can sustain this for an hour if I need to. And
I feel like that's important.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because if anything, you're going to know your body a little bit better.
Yeah.
and you'll know what to expect, and you'll have more confidence. Like
you learn a lot. Yeah, you learn a lot about yourself through running, and I feel like this is more fun to grab a couple buddies and do.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So a lot of us, we do CrossFit because we work out with our friends. Yeah. This is really cool. Like you guys have the air runners out in Lodi.
Yeah.
Like just once a week, man. Just look at the programming. Be like, dude, let's do one of Josh's workouts today and do it, even if it's just a warm up for you guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because 8x200, you can still do a lot after that. No problem.
Oh, for sure.
No problem.
Yeah.
So for you guys, it'd be super cool just to jump on there and like do a good warm up and then just crank it out against each other and be like, hey, let's see who gets the most. You know, or who can do it the fastest.
That'd be fun.
Be really cool.
Well, I think. I mean, we're sick, but
yeah, we are a little twisted. They're gonna hurt, but it's gonna be pretty fun.
So if someone wants to get started, what do they gotta do? Nothing,
so,
right?
Pretty simple. If you're a member, literally open up your new Wodify app, the Wodify Athlete. Scroll to the bottom of the page. 7 p.m. Faster Stronger Project. For you guys that have 3-day-a-week memberships, it is not. If you click into it and sign in, it does not count towards your any classes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, everybody can sign into it. If you can't, there are some stipulations to that just because the way Wodify works in the back end. So if anybody has a problem logging in or they can't access it, you just need to contact me or Anthony. Okay. And we literally just go in their membership and you just have to click that little button. It says Faster Stronger Project. That's it. Just like when we open a new gym.
I think I can do a mass one where it does it to everyone.
Oh, cool. Yeah, well, there we go. Problem solved.
Got it.
So yeah, if you guys have any problems though whatsoever, just email us. Mine's elkgrove@asap.fitness. I'll be more than happy to take care of you guys. Even if you're obviously not at my gym or I don't know you, like just let me know. I'll take care of it. So it's super easy. Yeah, but they can literally jump in like people could jump in as early as tonight.
Yeah.
I know this podcast won't be out then, but you know what I mean? Like it's literally any day. Just for example, the new run cycle, so the beginning of a cycle, which doesn't really matter anymore, but it is a new cycle, starts next week.
Okay.
So we're done racing this weekend, so we just peaked for this race. We're on basically a taper.
Yeah.
And then next week we'll start a new cycle. So if anybody's looking to kind of build up.
Get into it right now,
there, next week will be perfect. Yeah. So this is a perfect time to do the podcast for it since that's going to go. And then the next big race we'll do, Spartan season's coming up.
Yeah.
These, you do not need to reach out to me for specific distances. It's gonna cover everything. Yeah, people just have to have a little bit of faith in me. Like I've been doing this long enough now to like, you're gonna be fine.
So he's an SGS coach. You got a shirt on right now.
You're gonna be fine. Yeah, you're gonna be fine. I definitely doubted programs in the past. I'm like, oh, is this all I need? But you gotta have faith in whatever you do. And like, I'm not gonna lead people astray. So they'll be able to do anything up to half marathon distance. If you need specifically the full marathon, then you need to contact me and I will give you the difference. And the only thing different is the Saturday run has a lot more volume. Yeah. You'll actually build up to a 20-mile run before you do a marathon versus the half marathon. We're not even going to go anywhere near that.
What's the point, right?
Yeah, that's it. But the other stuff, it's all very similar.
Cool.
So workouts change every week, just like CrossFit, so it keeps it nice and fresh.
All right, cool. I like him so far. Like because kind of you said it's kind of CrossFit-y.
Very CrossFit-y, you know. So I can't take all the credit for that though. I reached out to big shout out to Coach Nuno from CrossFit Invictus down in San Diego. The guy's a badass dude, masters athlete, runs their endurance program. Been learning a lot through those guys past couple of months though. So and he definitely, the thought process is the same. So it's definitely something I agree with a lot, and I'm basically taking what I learned from them and kind of just relaying it to things I've learned in my own experience too. So we have a little bit different background, so it's cool to like mesh.
Yeah,
what you learn with other people.
You always gotta learn, keep learning, right?
Yeah, big time. Yep. So if you guys have any questions, don't feel free to reach out. Don't feel free. Feel free to reach out. Let me know if you need anything. I hope you guys jump on it at least once or twice a week. Just give it a try. Be committed for at least a month. Give it 4 weeks before you decide yes, it's for me or yes, it's not for me. It's really hard to do something for a short amount of time.
Give it a real go, guys. Don't just try it even once and be like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
If you know you got races coming up or you enjoy running, get on a program for it. Have it a little bit more structured so you make the most of your time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
exactly.
If you guys have any questions, Josh, on Instagram, where can they find you?
At rockabilly_runner. Rockabilly runner.
Cool. And Josh is posting all his running stuff on there too. So, and it'll be posted on the ASAP.
Yeah, if you look in the stories every day, it's pretty much, it's always a gauntlet of what the workout is, what our times were, all that kind of crazy stuff. And me talking trash to you guys, trying to get you to run, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And if you have any quick questions there about that run for that day, you can just DM and he'll hit you back up.
For sure. Check the Instagram pretty regularly. So
he's on the gram, baby.
On the gram. Getting them DMs.
Cool, guys. Well, thanks for coming. Hope to talk to you soon.
Awesome.
That's it.